Welcome, Carolina Panther fans. It's officially game day. Week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Welcome here to Panther Tails, your newest Panther podcast channel, where we'll talk everything Panthers and we'll break down all the other games going on around the league. Just so hopefully this year we could be fighting for a playoff spot, so we'll be breaking those games down to hopefully help us understand what we can do to get us in the playoff picture. Hopefully starting this year. I know this is another seeming like rebuild year, but we'll see. You never know what could happen in an NFL season. That's why it's exciting. Teams can go from worst to first the very following year. I know things need to happen in order for that to happen, but you just never know. So, my name is Wesam Al-Yatim. I'll be your host, and I know what you're thinking. Who are you? I'm nobody. I'm not an NFL scout. I'm not an NFL reporter or anything like that. I'm just a Panther fan. I've been one since I was little. Probably started around 8, 9 years old. What are you in 4th, 5th grade? You know. And I also don't believe this is how this channel is gonna go. This first episode, I've just been meaning to pump out, just to kind of get an off-season recap, and it doesn't really make sense to give an episode like that before or after the season has started. So I know it's a little late. I know this might not catch a lot of people, but hopefully I could produce this with like an hour and a half or so before game time, just to have a couple people listen. But we'll see where that goes. So yeah, this is Panther Tales. I will more than likely have a couple more people working with me on this later down the line, but this channel will be this podcast, and then it will also be reaction videos towards the games, and during game days, or for some game days, we'll more than likely go down, tailgate with the fans, interview the fans. So all in all, just want to have a really good time with this channel. A little bit about how I became a fan. I'm actually from Charlotte, North Carolina. I know a lot of people who are here know that this is a big transplant city, but I was born and raised here. Growing up, for whatever reason, and we were all kids, if you were a Panther fan, it was pretty much like frowned upon. So growing up, I actually like my first favorite team, just from like collecting cards, was like the Miami Dolphins. Never watched the game or anything, just liked the colors, stuff like that. And then once I actually like started watching football, my favorite team was the Raiders. They went to that Super Bowl where they lost to the Bucks, and yeah, I just, I never felt like I had a connection to any of those teams. Obviously, like my family, they weren't football fans, anything like that, so they didn't have a team. So just like eventually, you get to a point where you're like, why am I not cheering for the team from the state that I was born in, the city that I was born in? There's a team here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm gonna cheer for that team, especially because I love the city that I'm from. I know it's nothing special, but we're growing every year, and we'll see. So let's just get into the football side of things. I wanted to do this off-season recap video. Once again, the channel will probably look different in a couple weeks or so once we get things underway, but no big deals whatsoever. So let's go ahead and start with the off-season losses that we had this year. So we lost running back Miles Sanders, defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, tight end Jordan Matthews, cornerback Dane Jackson, And there were more people we lost. I just felt like those were the key, like, I guess, any key names or key pieces. Uh, Even though, like, Dane Jackson never really ended up playing, he was hurt a lot of the time. He was one of those fun free agency signings a couple years ago that never turned out to be anything. Clowney had a okay year with us last year, but we decided to just go ahead and move on, more than likely because he was just probably pushing for too much money. And then Miles Sanders, obviously his tenure here was not as was predicted. He was supposed to be much bigger, but the beautiful thing about the whole Miles Sanders situation is that Chuba was really able to find himself. And now we have I believe, a true lead back. He's been getting better every year. So that's exciting. Can't wait to see him today. Then we, like who we signed in the offseason, we re-signed J.J. Jansen. Thank you for Card Talk. Keep doing them. I listen to them every time they come out. Andy Dalton, great to have your veteran quarterback back with Bryce. They have a really good relationship. Tommy Tremble, him and Chuba Hubbard, the two hardest working people on the team. You need to have those type of players on your team. And along with that, Tommy's a really solid and reliable tight end. So he's just coming back from injury as well, but he looks to be good to go this year. And unlike Dane Jackson, we replaced Dane Jackson with a Mike Jackson last year, which ended up turning out well for us. So he went ahead and he got re-signed by the team. We got a new punter, Sam Martin. We re-signed backup lineman Brady Christensen. Re-signed David Moore, Nick Scott. We tendered Cade Mays. So those are two names on the offensive line. And then we'll go down. Once again, this is just free agent signings. So then we decided to work on our defensive line this offseason. Last offseason, we worked on our offensive line. This season, we decided to go to the defensive side. Anybody who was unaware, we had historically the worst defense of all time last year. So really, it could only go up from there. And with me saying that, we had a historically bad season last year and still won 5 games and still took both the Super Bowl teams to the final second, too, final drive and everything. So just want to throw that out there. It doesn't mean anything. It needs to be said. So getting back on track, we signed Tershawn Wharton. He had been playing alongside Chris Jones for the Kansas City Chiefs for his first couple years in the league. We signed Bobby Brown III from the Rams, Patrick Jones II from the Vikings, Trayvon Merrick from the Raiders. He seems to be a really good signing, safety. If I was to say what our biggest offseason signing was, more than likely him, along with a name I'll say in just 1 second. We signed Christian Roseboom, linebacker from the Rams. Rico Dowdle, 1,000-yard rusher with the Cowboys last year. Him and Chuba should be a really good 1-2 punch. You bring back David Moore, veteran receiver, had a nice season with us last year. Nothing flashy, nothing crazy, but caught the ball and worked really well with Bryce. But then obviously the big extension from this offseason was re-signing J.C. Horn. Needed to do it. I know the injury history, but you need to keep your core young defensive pieces. And he got that 4-year, $100 million deal, can go up to $108 million. $70 million is guaranteed. So here are my thoughts on the addition. And I need to bring this back a little bit too. I mean, even 5 years ago, we didn't have these blueprints, these off-season hype videos, all of this stuff. Whenever we signed, I just remember growing up and being a Panther fan, how I had to get my news, and there's just like so much more news you get these days than you were previously. But I'd go on Panthers.com, you'd get that the Panthers signed X and O player, right? And you never really hear of them, and you do your research, and they never end up being anything on our team because they weren't really anything on the other teams. So, not saying that the free agents we got are nobodies. I'm not saying that at all. But I feel like some of these signings were signings we could have had in those previous years where I was going to Panthers.com, and you look at him and you're like, who? Like Christian Roseboom, for example. I've never heard of him until then. Honestly, Tershawn Wharton, Bobby Brown, I've never heard of these players. And I won't say I'm like, I feel like I probably did have a little bit more knowledge when I was younger on other teams. But I'm just not going to know the role players and stuff like that for every 32 NFL teams. Like, I'm going to know the main players for all of them, but none of the Christian Rosebooms, Tershawn Whartons, Bobby Browns, Patrick Jones, none of those type of names. Even though they might have been bigger names on those teams than I know. I watch Panthers, I watch Red Zone, so I'll try to get better on that. Regardless, I want to believe that these are going to be good signings just from the blueprint episodes. I swear to God, like, they dedicate whole episodes to be like, yeah, these guys are the real deal. They're going to bring us back. We're going to stop people. They're going to play hard. They're going to be like, there's a lot of hype that comes with these players from these blueprint videos. So, like, now we just need to see them perform, I guess. But Trayvon Merrick is somebody who, most of us have heard of at least. But I believe he'll be a good signing just because he can bring the hits, man. And we just need that attitude on defense, especially when you're, once again, one of the historically worst of all time last year. So now let's just do a little bit of a draft recap. I have another story here. I'm pretty active on the Reddit page. If anything, just, reading. I'm definitely on there reading most days. But this fan base is so split and divided on a lot of things. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like from like day one, and we'll just say like week 13, 14, we're not too good, blah, blah, blah. Now we're talking about like, okay, let's look to the draft. Even though we still got like 6 more games, let's look for the draft. So even during that time, I was always like, I want McMillan. I want T-Mac. Like, if you could get a Mike Evans type receiver, even though I know that comp isn't exactly correct, but you could get a Mike Evans type receiver. You go get a Mike Evans type receiver. You know what I mean? And then you had all the back and forth this offseason from just like all these NFL experts ranking T-Mac not even the best receiver in this class, putting him at number 5, talking about how all his flaws. Panther fans didn't seem to want him. That like it was a very few amount of us who wanted him. And then the Jalen Walker hype started building and building and building, and even Kay Adams to this day talks about how Dave Canales lied to her, which I honestly think is just so funny. But he never lied. He just she brought up a name, and he was like, yeah, Jalen Walker, he's a leader. He's somebody you'd want on your team. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he is. I'm sure if we had pick 8 and 9, that's where we would have gone with our picks, but we didn't. And that's something I really, really like about our front office that I've never seen before. Usually we know who we're going to get. So for them to go ahead and pull that stunt to where they pretty much made everybody believe we were going defense, and then you go T-Mac with your first pick, that was awesome. But with that being said, once again, because all these Panther fans didn't want him, I had to now convince myself that this guy's going to suck because I didn't think we were going to pick him. So when it was draft night and we picked him, I was just watching the TV on it, just in shock. Just I don't know what to do now. But now we drafted this guy that I've really wanted for a long time. But I don't know if he's any good or not. So this draft has been a little bit of a whirlwind for my mental health. We will once again though, we will see how it turns out. I recollected myself. I've had Madden, T-Max, X Factor superstar receiver on there. He's gonna be a beast just because I made him good in Madden. Okay. So don't even worry about it. But, with us drafting him, I feel like I at least need to say his name. I can't just call him T-Mac or McMillan for the rest of his life. So hopefully I didn't butcher too bad. But Tetaroa McMillan, that's who we drafted. I'm really, really, really looking forward to watching him play today. With our second pick, round 2, pick 51, we went Nick Scorton. He played for Purdue and Texas A&M. He's a pass rush specialist, so we will see what we get out of him. And in the third round, pick 77, we went Princely Umamielen, I believe it is. Umamielen. He played for the Florida Gators and Ole Miss, another pass rush specialist. And the fourth round, pick 114, a lot of people were confused by this pick at first, but Trevor Etienne from Georgia, Trevor Etienne from Georgia. I believe a lot of people were questioning this pick at first, but through the offseason, I think a lot of people started warming up to it, especially with Jonathan Brooks being placed on the IR for the year. You kind of just need that change of pace back, that receiving back. Whenever your front two guys are tired, you just need a change of pace. And he's been looking good, and I think he's going to be our starting kick returner and punt returner, so we should see him with the ball in his hands early on. Another fourth-round pick 122. This man's been getting a lot of buzz recently, is Lathan Ransom from Ohio State. He's been another, pretty much from what you hear, we just drafted another Merrick, another can stop the run, hard-hitting dude. And once again, you just need that toughness for a defense. And if you want to be good, man, you need to be tough. You need to be mean. You need to be angry. You need to want to hit somebody. So getting those type of players is much needed for the culture of the program because we've been soft recently. So round 5, pick 140, we got Cam Jackson from Florida, just a big defensive tackle. Haven't heard too much about him in camp or anything. Along another 5th-round pick 163, we got Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame, tight end, which is good because you can never have too much depth at that position. And then with our final pick, 6th round, pick 208, we went Jimmy Horn Jr. out of Colorado, played under Coach Prime. It was an interesting pick. I mean, I haven't really heard of him. much, but he's one of the players I've heard about most this offseason after we drafted him from his speed. So we'll see the opportunities he gets and what we plan on doing with him. But I think he's gonna carve out a role. If not too early on, he should later on in this year. All right, moving on. Overall, I thought the draft was really solid. Dan's second draft, really, really solid. What I'm seeing more in these drafts than I have in previous drafts is we're starting to pick up names that, like in the later rounds, that are starting to like make an impact on the team. So even from like last year, Shaw Smith Wade is starting to make a name for himself. Players like that who were drafted later, they're some of our key players now in both offense, defense, and obviously special teams. What's exciting though too is because we picked McMillan at 8, and he's going to start. We potentially have an offensive rookie of the year potential player. I would love to see Nick Scorton and Princely play. I just don't know how much they're going to early on with Patrick Jones and DJ Wanham currently the starters in those spots, but hopefully we do get to see a little bit of them this year, hopefully today. And yeah, I just want to really see them improve because I believe they have the talent to be a really good defensive end tandem or outside linebacker tandem, whatever you want to say. So now let's just talk about the offseason, how it's been going, the mini camps and the rookie mini camps, all those things seem to go well. I don't have too much news there. I just kind of want to talk about the Minnesota trip the receivers took. I believe that was like the best thing that I saw from this offseason, just all the receivers bonding together and getting along, and XL trying to just get in the water for more than 10 seconds, like without holding on to the boat. Just everything was good, man. When you see that bonding with the team, you get a sense that things are changing around here, which we drastically need. I know all you fans know what I'm struggling with right now. Like these past years have just been, it's hard. We're usually a bad team, but at the same time, historically, I don't have the data point to know if this is right or not, but I feel like if anything, we've been more like mediocre, more like 500 than we have been previously. So hopefully we're trending up. Hopefully this is the year we break our losing streak and just have a solid season. But yeah, that was great. And then like Xavier Legette just becoming absolute superstar this offseason. I mean, we're talking he's in a Glorilla music video. We're talking he was at the Kentucky Derby. I mean, just a true gem. I'm glad he's embracing his stardom, but hopefully we could see the field on the play so he could continue his off-season successes, and we keep seeing him in the news because with the drops that he had last season, he just needs to have a big year. He needs to show that he's worked on his hands because wide receivers who prove that they can't catch the ball don't last very long in the league. But I'm not counting XL out whatsoever. I believe we as fans are way too hard and way too quick to judge because of the way the NFL has been going these days. If you're not getting immediate results, we throw people to the side. We're just like, oh, bust. He didn't have a Justin Jefferson rookie season. You know what I mean? when we have to understand that a lot of these players need years to develop in order for them to become the player that they can become, the best version of themselves. So definitely not counting XL out. I believe he will have a nice season this year, and we'll just see. So now we're at training camp, and the first big news was us releasing Josie Jewell. Unfortunately, that was just for health reasons. He had a concussion, and he's still like feeling symptoms from that to this day. So prayers up for Josie, and I hope everything goes well. I believe like if everything did go well, he's a potential to pick back up. But once you start getting brain injuries, man, I just feel like you need to just hang him up. There's so much more life to live. I know you're probably not ever going to make as much money as you did in the NFL, but your health is way more important. So there's been fights. People have been talking about Bryce, like Bryce is a trash talker and JC's a trash talker. So those are our two trash talkers on the team. Even though you guys all know Bryce's trash talk is probably not that crazy. He's just a nice kid, man. He's just a nice kid. I'd love to see the anger, aggressive side of him, but it's just who he is. And while we're on the topic of Bryce, let's just go ahead and talk about him. Obviously, we all know it's kind of make or break here. But I just don't know how to feel right now. Only because of his last interview that I watched of him, where he's like, his body language, he just looks nervous. He's touching his arms and stuff like that. Where he was interviewing like that before the Saints game last year and then didn't do well. But I try not to look too much into this kind of stuff. Because the interviews and talking is one thing, and being mentally prepared and in the zone for a game is a completely other thing. So I'm hoping that those two things don't go hand in hand. The reports have said he's been looking really good this training camp. I believe in him is what I'm trying to say. I believe in Bryce. I was at a lot of the games last year. I watched it. There was a feeling like he's starting to get it. And we just need this that's the only reason that I hate the offseason. It's so damn long that you don't want them to forget being in that zone. I mean, this man had 5 touchdowns against Atlanta the last game. 5. That's the stuff we need to be seeing this year, man. We need him to be Bryce Young. So, we'll see. The reports have been good. I just want to see the next step. Because if he can take the next step, we're definitely saying he's a top 15 quarterback by the end of this year. Ike Ekwonu just got his appendix taken out, so he's doubtful for this game. I know exactly how he was feeling. Let's just because I've had my appendix taken out, let's just all be happy that his appendix didn't rupture on him and anything more serious happens. If he has to miss this game or even next week's game, just heal up. Heal up. Missing 2 games is a lot better than missing a whole season. What else has been going on? We traded Adam Thielen. We traded him back home. It seemed like there's no negative vibes on either side. Adam's team, our team, everybody seemed to work everything out. And at first I was like, you can't lose Adam because of his veteran presence, but we need to see the young Bucks play, man. I love Adam. Thank you so much for the past 2 years. You were awesome. I will never have anything negative to say about you. Complete professional. But as soon as you got traded and then we said Jalen Coker in the slot, I was like, here we go. Coker needs to play. Anybody who watched him last year knows that Coker needs to play. He's the only touchdown pass that Bryce threw in the preseason, like they have a chemistry. Coker needs to play. Very unfortunate that the very next day after that we traded Thielen, that Coker comes up with a quad injury. But with us releasing Renfro, which was another not a bad thing, but like there's so many stories in the offseason about like coming back home. This is the only team you'd play for, all this good stuff, and for us to like cut him, like I know it's like football side of things, but once again from the reports, it didn't seem like there was anything that he was doing wrong that we should have let him go, but immediately brought him back. And we had been in talks with him too. We just more so wanted to put him on our practice squad, probably just to get his conditioning up. I mean, this guy hasn't played football in 2 years. And then he just got hurt like a week or so ago. So it was probably more so for conditioning. But hey, Adam's gone. Coker's down for at least 4 weeks. You're now back on the team and you're starting. So we should be seeing a good amount of Renfro today. I definitely could see him being a little safety blanket for Bryce, especially now that Thielen is gone. We had joint practices with both the Browns and the Texans this offseason. So that was cool, just to kind of see a little bit of Shadur on Sunday. We made him look way better than we needed to, which is fine. I guess just the media was so funny about it because then he plays well against us and then bad against. I feel bad for Shadur, I'll say that, but he's not a Panther, so we'll move on. And then doing the practice with the Texans was cool just because Bryce and CJ are really close friends. So seeing them together and just like chopping it up, it's always a cool thing to see. And it's good going against the Texans defense because they have one of the better ones in the league. So hopefully that readied us up for these Jacksonville Jaguars that we're about to see here. Okay. Let's kind of wrap this up. I'm not gonna talk too much about preseason because I don't believe it matters. We're not running our plays. We're running everything is vanilla. It just doesn't matter to me. I'm not gonna judge the team based off of what I saw in preseason. And so many people overreacting. Like, if past players say you can't slack in the preseason, that means doesn't matter, man. We're not slacking. We're just we are who we are right now. We're just figuring things out, and nobody really looked good in preseason. So let's just predict the schedule to kind of end things here. Panthers at Jags. Oh, God. I don't want to give my reasonings or anything. I'm gonna just say I'm nervous here. I'm nervous. I'm nervous looking at our first 4 games, man. Because if we lose here, we could lose next week, and then we could lose again, and then we're back to another team that I feel that's winnable. Let's just do this. Panthers, Jags. God, I hate this. I don't want to do this. I'm not doing season predictions. Hopefully we have a good year. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast. This is just episode 1. Once again, it should be different moving forward. I should have a co-host, a producer, all that good stuff. But I just needed to put this together and kind of throw it out just to have a little base for this channel. I can't give a predictions. I can't. It's just hard for me to say loss on air. So we're just going to win every game. 17-0. 20-0. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, this is Panther Tails. Keep pounding.